Talisker is a shelf staple for many whiskey drinkers the world over, but with whiskey prices across the board creeping up. In the supermarket, where are you going to find more bang for your buck? Welcome back, Dram Fam, to the Whisky Diary. I assume you've read the title of this video. I assume that's why you've clicked on it. Today we're going to be pitching the Talisker 10 against Talisker Skye to see which will offer you the best value for money. These both sit at the entry level of Talisker's core range, along with the Portree and the Talisker Storm. I purchased both of these from my local supermarket. You can generally find them on offer, but they both sit around the £40 mark. Now, I do appreciate the pricing in this video is probably only contextually relevant to those in the UK, but I did do a little bit of research online, and generally the prices kind of scale to wherever you are in the world. So hopefully this will be relevant to you as well. Now, in my local supermarket, which happens to be a Tesco, it was £37 for the Talisker Skye and £41 for the Talisker 10. Now, these are actually both on club card pricing. It's a free membership thing, savings card, whatever, down to £25 for the Skye and £30 for the 10. So honestly, two whiskies for 55 quid is pretty nuts. Getting on to the statistics of these two whiskies, the Skye is a no age statement bottled by the Talisker distillery, which is of course based in the Isle of Skye. It is bottled at 45.8%, it is chill filtered, and it does have artificial colouring. It's peated to around 16 to 22 ppm. I couldn't actually find any definitive numbers, but it's around the 20 ppm mark. It is a mixture of refill and toasted American oak barrels. It is a 70 centilitre bottle, and right now on Master of Malt you can pick it up for £40. So the 10-year-old is of course 10 years old, bottled by the Talisker distillery. It is also bottled at 45.8%. It is also chill filtered. It is also artificially coloured. It is also peated to around 20 ppm. I believe the 10 is only refill American oak, and you can pick this up for £41 right now on Master of Malt. These whiskies are almost identical, other than the age statement and the addition of using toasted refill American oak casks on the Talisker Skye. Theoretically, they should be fairly comparable. So, I have got a glass of each. Let's get down to tasting. So, I'm going to start with the Skye. Immediately quite sweet, pepper, smoke, like quite a bright smoke note. Getting some kind of toasted cereal notes coming through. Wonderful salty brininess. I mean, that's what we come to Talisker for, right? Talisker notoriously got what you call a maritime flavour palette, like it's salty, briny, it smells of the sea. It's got a wonderful bright citrus note to it. Green apple, although it's got a piney, almost spirity note. For those of you that have ever smelt kind of a slightly peated new make spirit, a lot of the time it can come across that spiritiness can translate to like a kind of chlorophyll green up, like unripe fruit kind of note. Now I'm not going to taste it. I'm going to go for the nose on the 10, and then we're going to taste them side by side. On the 10, instantly a lot more rounded, less pungent, a lot less bright. Still got a nice pepper, but the pepper's less sharp, like white pepper, kind of more like a toasty black pepper kind of note. That smoke is like a nice wood smoke, like a much richer smokiness. Alongside that, you're definitely getting more oak, more wood. You can detect that there's maybe some older liquid in here, because that smell, that nose of oak is kind of unmistakable. A much sweeter apple note, like much more like red apple, cooked apple, something like that. And backed up by some wonderful barley notes. Like you can smell some nice malted, toasted barley. Overall, the Skye, a little bit brighter, a little bit more salty, briny, more prickly kind of nose. The 10, a little bit more rounded, a little bit softer, but a bit like richer. There's a bit more depth and complexity to the nose. So, onto the palate for the Skye. First thing I detect really is quite how thin and prickly the spirit is. Definitely loads of smoke and salt, and that bright pepperiness really kind of sits at the front for me. It's got some wonderful sweetness to back it up. Nice, those orchard fruits, that apple, some nice like honey and barley sugar coming through. But on the back end of that, getting a little bit of bitter sweetness, similar to like a pink grapefruit or something like that. Like that citrus, bitter sweetness, peppery. It's quite nice, although it does feel a bit spirity. Like I'm detecting some quite young notes in it, which I'm not really a huge fan of in this context. Finish wise, kind of bitter, some more of that sweet, bright, prickly pepper coming through. Maybe a hint of licorice, but overall I'm actually getting quite a bitter drying sensation on the back end of the finish. I'm going to have a drop of water, and then we're going to move on to the 10.
A few moments later.
So onto the 10. Oh, immediately, much thicker, heavier mouthfeel. That smokiness, that wood smoke is a lot richer, more like a kind of barbecue, sweet barbecue note. Those orchard fruits coming through in droves, a little bit of demerara sugar, some borderline molassesy kind of notes sticking around, and then tons of that oak and that barley. You can definitely taste the age in here. All of those spirity notes I'm just not really getting. It tastes like a more refined product. Definitely a lot less of those bitter notes that I was getting on the Skye. It tastes a lot more rounded, a little bit more complex, and again, just a bit richer than what we saw over here. Finish wise, overall a lot sweeter. That wood smoke is a lot like a deeper wood smoke, not so bright and prickly, it's more deep and robust. The pepper note comes across a lot darker, a lot richer, a lot spicier, kind of gets you a lot more in like the back of the throat. And overall the finish is just a lot longer, a lot more complex. There's evolution to it. It starts off sweet and it becomes peppery. It's balanced. It's not all of one side, which I kind of felt like I had a bit more of from the Skye. I definitely feel like the Skye was a bit of a brighter, more peppery finish. This is a deeper, richer, more golden finish. I don't know, I feel like I want to say it's more golden, more honey, more caramel there. Overall, I think these are both fantastic offerings from the Talisker Distillery, especially when you can get both of these whiskies for around £30 each. That's ridiculously cheap for a whiskey. Now, if I had to choose one of these for me to put my money in, personally, I think I'd spend the extra few quid and go for the Talisker 10. Now, I'm no stranger to young whiskey. I'm quite partial to young whiskies, but I think you have to treat them right. I just felt like on the Talisker Skye, there was too much bitterness. I was fighting with the flavour too much. While there was fantastic flavour there, I just didn't feel like it kind of followed through from start to finish. On the 10, overall, I felt it had a more cohesive flavour. I felt that palate was a lot generally softer, but much richer. Even now, I've still got lingering sweetness at the back of my throat, which with the Skye died off quite quick. I'd say overall it feels like a more refined product. It feels like something that's had, gone into some better wood. I don't know what they're doing behind the scenes. But, to me, the Talisker 10 just tastes that little bit better and a little bit more of a premium product. But then again, it is more expensive, so I guess you get what you pay for. At the end of the day, if you like Talisker, if you like that salty, briny, saline, smoky whiskey, you're probably going to get on really well with both of these. I'm not saying either of them are objectively bad. I just think that if you maybe are a bit more sensitive to the bitter side of things and you're looking for something that's just generally a bit softer, a bit more rounded, and dare I say it, a little bit more smooth, you may find the 10 is a little bit more to your palate. But anyway, that's enough from me. Thank you all very much for watching. If you've liked this video, please do drop a like down below, and if you'd like to support the channel, please do consider subscribing. Let me know down in the comments if you've tried either of these whiskey and if you have a favourite. I know this kind of thing's quite divisive. I know especially at this end of the market there's quite a broad spectrum of flavours and people tend to gravitate towards the one they like and stick there. So let me know what your thoughts are. And on that note, I'm going for the 10. Slanjavar.